Hello and welcome to A Part Together. My name is Jennifer Lott and I am an assistant professor at the USC Kaufman School of Dance. With me today is the incomparable Marjani Forté-Saunders, who has been with us for the past several weeks, creating a new work on our freshmen and sophomores who are taking the Repertory Performance class. This is our BFA students. And I am delighted to get to talk with her about her process. Hi, Marjani.
Hey.
So it's so good. And I've had such a great time observing you and being in the room with you over these past weeks. And I have to say, I feel so connected with you also, just because when you were, I don't know what phase it was in your career. I know you've been making work for a while, but I just remember being at Give Me Dance when I was dancing at Give Me Dance, and you were making work and being presented through the organization in New York City. And then I staged a work of Jody Gates at Princeton University. And at that same time, you were there also creating work. And then finally, we interacted again later here at USC Kaufman. And it's been so cool because also, I think that, I identify with you a lot just as a mother and also as someone whose partner is her partner in life and also partner collaborator. So I've loved getting to observe, how you've been working with the students and just the depth and the breadth and the deep meaning behind your work and your process. So I wanted to know, do you want to talk a little bit about, how you are making in this moment right now? And I'm not just talking about, the work that you're doing with the students, but also holistically as an artist. What has this been like for you? And what is happening during this pandemic life?
Mm-hmm. Oh man, that's a big question. But I thankfully was able to give it some thoughts, so I appreciate it so much, Jen. But wow, COVID, this entire experience has been not only, there's definitely been layers of devastation, more for some, right? That we know it's been pretty heartbreaking time. And in other ways, it's been a transformative time and an opportunity to look at things that people have been like, yeah, screaming out about for generations. And so we find ourselves, I would say, as a country, as a society, at another sort of apex, another moment, another opportunity of awakening, an opportunity to sort of elevate the human consciousness and see ourselves as being a part of, and not singular bright entities or bright stars, but really as a part of an ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
And that feels really exciting for me. So I think I'd be ready and willing to show up for this moment, however it looked, whether it was virtual or whether it was in person, even if it was some kind of telepathic capacity where we were able, wherever it is that we're able to connect and farm this consciousness and this opportunity to elevate together, let it be. I'm happy to show up for it. And so for me, that has looked like, this relationship of satellite residencies that Seven Names, my partner and I, and really a collective of folks have been talking about. What does it mean for folks to work from home? And how is that not a uniform thing? I think for the first time we can have conversations with students that are specific to them, that are specific to their circumstances, specific to their life arrangement. And that is a really human-centered way of moving in the world that I think all of our systems and structures are invited to step up to. I think we take, and so this is a nice opportunity to do that.
I love that. And once again, you're just kind of blowing my mind and how you perceive and kind of analyze what's happening. And, I've really loved watching you, pull analysis, like self-analysis and self-thought out of the students. And I want to know, you've talked about your work is really collaborative with them. Can you talk about just kind of more broadly, what role does collaboration play in your work? And, I'm speaking about the dancers, obviously, but I know in a broader sense, for Seven Names, you work very collaboratively.
Oh man. Well, I think, Jen, there have been ways of understanding of this for me, as there are for everybody, right? Like what collaboration is for you in your, in your teens or at 17, 18 is not what it is at 25. It's definitely not what it is at 36, which is where I am at now. And so I think it's been kind of deep for me to witness how I show up in a collaborative processes over time. I will say, like with Urban Bushwoman, what I came to understand very clearly is that collaboration there is no form of erasure in it. But that collaboration really requires that everybody show up in their best and highest and fullest self. That is the really, of course, tricky but mighty thing that nature really gives us examples of all the time. Like a dandelion doesn't stop being it because a tulip is growing. It's going to be its full dandelion self, and I think that those are the things that we get to embrace. I think as I am older, I am also understanding a little bit more about about what do you call it? Like skill sourcing, that while I may have a relationship to something that I think I'm really good at, the collaboration gives us an opportunity to receive what other people are perceiving about what we're good at, or about where we shine, and to dive into those things as well. And so I think that's a little bit of my current lesson about collaboration right now, be flexible, man.
Yeah, that's such, yeah, it's almost like a mirror back on us of, yeah. And I love that. Um, and it's also been like such a joy and a luxury to get to share Zoom space with you. And I love how you've named in your choreographic process this notion of disposition as a key element of how you think and how you work. And I think that's been really evident, actually. And when you said that, it really helped me to understand even better, like who you were as an artist. But do you mind describing what that means for you? Because I think it's really unique and special for you.
Yeah. Oh, wow. One of the things I sort of end every session when we get to talk about disposition, but like taking people all the way back to the 8-year-old Marjani in the pool pit, on Sunday afternoon, in my white dress, getting ready to do my praise dance, to help them understand like how, what's what I'm looking for? Like how early this notion of disposition is, which is like, how do we tell the story? We have conversations, and I think dance is in a really amazing, another kind of shift. This isn't the first time dance has been on film. This isn't the first time dance and film got to really like be in close relationship together. We've seen that, right, throughout generations. But here we have another opportunity where it's like all we got. And so what does that mean? Like there are a million dancers who can unfold their legs by their ears, or can fold their feet over poles, or who can turn 1,000 times on one leg. There's a million of them, but nobody can tell the story the way that you can. And so how do you refine that part of yourself? And yourself is so multi-layered and so full of stories, so full of experience, that in your ability to refine and craft your storytelling, which is like your energetic place for each part of the story, the way that you communicate who you are in that circumstance versus that one and this one and that one, really like helps to like permeate the two-dimensionality of this screen situation, and allows the dance to come to life and then reflect that of another story. You can be a better mirror when you know who you are.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I think I'm gonna cling to that. And I think that's very revolutionary for this moment. That really fits into the moment in a beautiful way. As you said, we're viewing people's spaces, we're in their homes, what better moment. And also, with where we are just societally, what better moment to really dig. And I think I've just really felt, even in the composition classes, that has been a breath of fresh air to have you help them wrap their minds around the notion of identity. And I think I want to kind of lead into this next question. So you've begun your processes in both the repertory classes that I've been in with you, but also in the composition classes. You've begun them with a moment where the students examine their own identity through words, through movement, making meaningful connections between their dancing bodies and who they are, where they've come from. So can you talk about this as like the importance of this as a starting point for you in relationship, as a mentor, as a teacher, as a leader? Yeah.
The importance of
asking who you are and where you come from, and also naming. You've also done the thing, I mean, I love just naming, who the land ownership, right? Who did this, who lived here before us, whose land, are we on right now?
yeah, because then we become a part of that story, right?
Yeah.
Like we're like, wherever you are, you're now a part of the story of these indigenous peoples, right?
Yes, and it's the land acknowledgement. It's really real. And for me, I think you really helped to paint that as like, yes, like that. I felt it in the way that you brought us there too. So yeah, but I also, and then beyond that, you went into the students like, I am here, like, who am I? And I think that's been a really powerful moment for them to claim themselves too. And so you already kind of touched on that, but I just love it as like the intro point to your work. I think it's really profound and cool.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. It's funny because I get to connect with Bruce and his mindfulness class. And our field, I'll see how concisely I can say this. Our field is kind of brutal. It can be kind of tough. I mean, because we're bringing our bodies to it. And when I think about other industries, that like really popular industries where they're bringing their body to it, the ways that they're compensated to do that, right, is like in relationship to the way that we are compensated to do it is just really different. And so that makes me, that calls to mind what I think about like James Baldwin's series of lectures around the role of the artist. And I've mentioned students a couple times when he says like, only the artist, only the poet can describe what it is to die without having to have died themselves. There's some very specific ways that as artists, I believe that we are called to speak truth to power. What does it take for us to do that? I can't say that I know. My little funky 36 years, I don't know all of what it takes. But I know that for me, what I cling to is a kind of meditation practice, a kind of engagement of my spiritual or energetic bodies as much as my tangible bodies that fortify me in my work, in moments where I am discouraged or feeling dispensable or disposable, or so much like one of many that I can, that I don't matter.
Yeah.
And that's a frequent place that dancers hit. And so again, mining who you are, and also finding a place of grounding feels really important to me in a process.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I think that's a great place for, us to kind of wind our conversation down. Because I know at this moment we're going to be able to watch the work, which is really exciting. So thank you so much, Marjani Forté-Saunders, for your time and your heart and your energy that you've lent to the Kaufman School and to our students. And I also would additionally like to thank the Choi family, whose continued support for the artists in residence and visiting artists at USC Kaufman enables us to bring this programming here to you tonight. Please enjoy this showing of New Works Plus. Thank you.